Hello there, and welcome to this episode of the Star Wars Youniverse podcast. I'm your host, James, and this month it's a new year, and we are fast approaching some new content on our screens in Star Wars. This month, it's been pretty quiet overall in terms of what I've been up to in Star Wars, but also in terms of just general news. Who am I kidding? We've got two huge pieces of news here. We have Kathleen Kennedy is officially stepping down to be replaced by Dave Filoni, which is huge news. And anyone who is familiar with Dave Filoni's work will probably see this as a really, really good thing. And I am one of those people. I'm not saying it's a bad thing at all. The other person who's stepping up is Lynwen Brennan, who is much less known uh, at the coalface of Star Wars, but has been around Lucasfilm for many, many years. And I think this is a good move. And that's not to cast any shade or any hate towards Kathleen Kennedy. I have largely enjoyed the majority of what has been put out under her leadership. And I think that this is her decision rather than it being forced. Pushing it on to Dave Filoni in terms of the day-to-day series creative side of things, I think is absolutely brilliant. It's been on the cards for a while. Really, really looking forward to what he does going forward. And yeah, there's some criticisms out there which are probably somewhat just of there's going to be a lot more Ahsoka. There's going to be a lot more lightsabers, a shift away from like the gritty underworld of Andor. But also at the same time, I don't think that will happen. I'm really looking forward to it. I think that what we've got coming up this year is really, really exciting. I think we are getting the gritty underworld side of it, the non lightsaber, non force stuff in the Star Wars universe. I think we're going to be getting that from Starfighter. Very much appears to be a pilot centric show or movie, I should say. And I think that's going to continue. And I think we're going to have a really, really positive future in Star Wars. I really hope that all of the stuff that has been kind of moved into a holding pattern. So we're looking at James Mangold's Dawn of the Jedi. We're looking at the Rian Johnson trilogy, which, to be honest, looks pretty dead in the water at this point in time. We have the New Jedi Order trilogy. I don't know if they're going to try and condense that into one film. There is even talk of the Heir to the Empire movie being shifted to a TV show. And we may end up with a situation where Filoni controls the TV and Brennan controls the movie side of things. Fine. We're just going to need to wait and see how this shakes out and see what happens as time progresses. So, really, really big news coming out of Lucasfilm with that announcement. So, I really want to take this opportunity to say thank you to Kathleen Kennedy for everything she has done. A lot of criticism has gone her way over the years, but it's always worth remembering George Lucas, the people who are who've been crying out for him to retake the reins, hand-picked her. He hand-picked her. He said, "That is my successor." I think she's done all right. There have been some missteps along the way. Sequel trilogy being the big one, and not even from an individual film point of view. I think they just didn't storyboard out what they wanted from the trilogy. I've said this many, many times, and I think they've learned from it. I do. I genuinely feel they've learned from it. People have found nits to pick in absolutely everything since then. The animation has been continually top tier, even if it's not necessarily been my bag. Sorry, Vision Season 3, I'm looking at you with that. We've had an expansion into alternative universes with Visions and also the Lego Rebuild the Galaxy stuff. We've had all sorts of stuff going on. We've had Bad Batch, we've had Tales series, which in my view has been largely fantastic. Not necessarily always what I want and characters I want focused on, but you can't fault the storytelling and the actual animation itself. that lets me segue into what we have coming up next, and I want to talk about Darth Maul Shadow Lord. Darth Maul Shadow Lord has done something which I don't think I've ever seen Star Wars do before, where they released a 20-25 second teaser for the trailer coming tomorrow, and the amount of time and effort that they put into that 20-25 seconds was incredible. The way it was shot, it was very it was almost a James Bond-esque title sequence where it's almost telling a story, and you've got flashes of Maul falling down the plasma shaft. You've got Maul squaring off against Obi-Wan. I did note that they put Obi-Wan on the high ground, which doesn't quite truly reflect what happened in Rebels, but I did find it quite funny. You have these droplets falling into liquid, which are then coming together and forming the shape of Maul's tattoos on his face. And then at the end, it's revealed to be his face, and the eyes, the yellow eyes open, and it's just Maul. Trailer tomorrow. I thought it was absolutely incredible. It really did so well at building hype. And I saw so many people online desperately going, "Have you seen this? Have you seen this? Oh my God, this looks amazing." And we're really hyped for this trailer drop tomorrow. And people were sitting there waiting for this trailer to drop. And then it did. It dropped. And it was everything I wanted it to be. It's Maul in his best Sam Witwer-esque tones and pontification in his enunciation and all this, and just talking. Maul, for someone who I think had 12 lines of dialogue in the entirety of the Phantom Menace, is really being given a voice at this point in time. And he was through Clone Wars and he was through Rebels, and he is so philosophical in how he looks at things. And he's got such a twisted view of the world, and it's such a tragic story of what could have been. This guy is clearly incredibly intelligent, and I would also say quite an emotionally deep character. We get this scenario where he's just trying to survive and carve out a niche for himself in the galaxy. And we're just going to put to one side that that is running a criminal enterprise. But we have this gap in the timeline where it really looks like we are going to get a chance to see what he was up to from the Battle of Mandalore at the end of the Clone Wars to the brief appearance and visual we get of him as the overall head of Crimson Dawn at the end of Solo, to then where we see him in Rebels, the end of season 2 of Rebels, Twilight the Apprentice. If you haven't seen it, go and watch it. It's 2 episodes, about 40-45 minutes of content. It is some of the best Star Wars content you will ever watch. Firmly believe that. It's certainly how I feel about it. And this trailer just takes us through this ride. We get so much. We see Pikes, we see stormtroopers, we see Inquisitors, 2 Inquisitors. The one with kind of like the plague mask from Tales of the Jedi, the end of the Ahsoka arc, who she defeats him, and that's where she gets her lightsaber crystals to purify and feeds into her white lightsabers later on. And we also get Marek from Ahsoka, who, yes, in that ends up being a big green fart cloud, resurrected by Dathmiri magic. Magic with a K. It's always with a K in Star Wars. But we get him as an actual character, it seems. This may be where he sustains his injuries that need to invoke the Dathomiri magic to revive him. We're just going to have to wait and see. But I think for me, one of the most exciting things about this is the relationship relationships, because there's two that I want to talk about. First one being with the Empire. They are clearly, from what we've seen in this trailer, hunting him at the behest of Palpatine. Now, that is exciting and it is worrying for Maul. We know he survives. So it takes an element of risk and fear for him out of it. We know how he dies. But seeing the hologram and him waving his lightsaber around in the hologram as if he's trying to attack the Empire general, lackey, who I must admit, looks wise and mannerisms, this might just be a general Empire person way of setting someone up. They really reminded me of the bad guy from the Bad Batch season 3, whose name is completely escaping me at the moment, but you know who I mean, the one who is running Mount Tantis and running the experiments there. It really reminds me. So I was just thinking maybe we could actually get something. Maybe he could be brought into it. Maybe we could see some other characters that we are maybe familiar with. Maybe some Partisad, maybe some Dedra, maybe something of people going about their business within the Empire. And these things, all of these different threads are just crisscrossing all the time. We might get some Pelion. Who knows? We might get to see some Thrawn because he will be in the Empire at this point in time. And it may be Thrawn and Maul meet and have a little bit of a relationship. And that is where maybe Morgan Elsbeth comes into it because Marok needs to be revived by someone. And there aren't many Dathmiri people left. There's Merrin, Asajj, who I don't think is particularly into the magic side of things, and Morgan Elsbeth. They're the only ones we're aware of at this point in time. And the other relationship I really want to look at is Devon Izara. I don't know if I've said that correctly. I will wait until the show is out to hear it pronounced properly. But she is a Twi'lek youngling, potentially new knight, who Maul seems to take under his wing. Now, anyone who is familiar with Sith lineage in Legends may remember Darth Talon, and there was a story released a number of years ago about George Lucas's plans for the sequel trilogy if he had made them. He was going to make Darth Maul the main villain of that trilogy, with Darth Talon as his second in command. We might be getting a Disney version of that in Maul Shadow Lord because a decision was made. I don't necessarily think it was the wrong decision, but a decision was made in season 4 of Rebels that Obi-Wan Kenobi was going to defeat Maul and kill him. So Maul cannot be in the sequel trilogy. He doesn't make it even to the original trilogy. But this Twi'lek could be a version of Darth Talon. She's a pink-skinned Twi'lek. We could do some ceremonial tattooing at the end of the season. We could see more of her as a Sith apprentice in season 2. And I think this is potentially what we could have got if we got an Acolyte season 2 or a continuation of the Acolyte series. We could really dive into the Sith training and rule of 2 because Maul has always believed in the rule of 2. He's been trained and indoctrinated into it his entire life. It's something that he tried to recreate with Ezra. He tried to recreate it with Savage, and it looks like he tried at least one other time in his timeline, and that looks to be here with Devon Izara. I also might be completely wrong, and it might be something completely out of left field that we haven't seen coming. I'm just looking at what it appears to be showing me. But what was also interesting to me in this trailer is the fact that Maul is undertaking a tea ceremony. I believe this was potentially put forward by Sam Witwer himself as a way to introduce things that he himself has been experiencing in his life, because he went when he was in Japan, he went and learned about the tea ceremonies, and it's exactly what I did when I was in Japan. I went to a tea ceremony at a tea house, and we myself and my wife went and got dressed up in traditional clothes, and we did the tea ceremony, and it was really really interesting, fascinating process. But the fact that it's happening in the show so close to Sam Witwer doing it, and he's talked about it a really small amount, just kind of alluding to it a little bit. But it makes me wonder, has he done any motion capture for it? Because Maul himself is undertaking the tea ceremony, or were they so focused on keeping it animated, in air quotes, that Sam Witwer was maybe involved in like that. Now the spoon needs to move like this, and this is what you do, and lays it all out for them, and they then animate it. That feels like a longer process than just stick me in a dotted suit and I'll do it. And you then get the wireframe to then overlay your animation onto. A really, really interesting series, which I think is going to raise a number of questions around how we see Star Wars villains, anti heroes. I don't think it's going to raise too many questions about how we see the Empire or the Jedi or the Republic or anything like that. I think we're going to be looking at this through Maul's eyes, and I think it's going to be an incredibly tragic and emotional story. And that story begins on April the 6th, which coincidentally is my birthday. So thank you, Disney, for a wonderful birthday present. I am going to thoroughly enjoy sitting down on my birthday and watching this. First two episodes drop on April the 6th, 2026. So that's really going to do it for what I've got to say about Maul and Kathleen Kennedy. And that actually ticks off one of the things that I've been up to this last month in Star Wars TV. I have watched and watched and watched the Maul Shadow Lord trailer. If you're watching this on YouTube, let me know what you think in the comments below. If you are listening to this on a podcatcher, feel free to contact me on any of the social media. I'm on X at Star Wars UPod. I'm on Instagram at Star Wars Youniverse. Email starwarsupod@gmail.com, and I'm also on TikTok, Star Wars Youniverse. So feel free to reach out to me and let me know what you thought of the trailer. If you are listening to this on a podcatcher, hit follow. If you feel up to it, leave a review, whatever you want. It's really appreciated. If you're on YouTube, hit subscribe. Really helps the channel out. Thank you. Really, really appreciate it. But looking at what else I've been up to in Star Wars this last month, we'll start with what we always start with, which is Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. This has been a weird one. It's been a weird one. I didn't really do an update last month because it was my look forward into 2026. And so the month before that, what I was up to in November, which seems quite a long time ago, if I'm perfectly honest with you, we had just had Colosseum drop. And at the time of recording this, we have just had, or we are in the last throes of this anniversary era. And the new era has been announced, and it's going to be focused on Andor. And we've got Major Partizad, we've got Dedra Miro announced currently coming to the game. The current Colosseum lot is, I've capped out at level 70, which is what you can do free to play. I have picked up the pass each month to get me some extra stars, extra shards for the characters. I have unlocked Maul, Hate Fueled Maul, which is Maul with his big spider body from Clone Wars season 3. That's been pretty fun. I've what else have I been doing? I've actually started using the Gungans. That's been fun. Satil Shan is the new Conquest character, and I am really trying to get as close as I can to unlocking her. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get the full unlock from day one, but I should get pretty close. And that's really good. That's been a lot of fun. It's been busy, but it's been quite a lot of fun. The rest of it though is I'm just grinding. I'm just grinding towards Lord Vader at this point in time. It's not a fun grind. I have all the shards. I've got all the stars I need. Everyone is into relics, and it's just relic material. So that's just going on in the background. But I'm starting to take the game quite seriously at the moment, which is really good fun. I really want to get Satil Shan, and hopefully the follow-up Conquest character will be really good. Because the last time I did this, it was Darth Bane, and Darth Bane was really good. And then the follow-up, I can't remember who it was, what wasn't, and I really sort of dropped off my activity levels in Conquest. It's fine. It took me a number of characters to get back into the swing of it. But comics wise, I have eventually got round to finishing Boba Fett, Black, White, and Red, issue number two. I just don't think it's for me. I'm going to read the other two because I think there's only four, but I like the artwork on the whole. I just think the best one for me has been Darth Maul. I'm talking about Darth Maul a lot this episode, but he's just everywhere and he's so cool. I love Darth Maul. He's such an awesome character, and especially expanded beyond what we got in episode one. Reading issue two, or I finished issue two. It took me a couple of minutes, and I still wasn't really paying attention. I just don't particularly like Boba Fett. I don't think at this point in time he has some very cool moments, but as a someone to follow in a story, just not really for me. I don't think. I think I have previously misled you guys on what I had been up to in a particular month in Star Wars. I think I previously said that I had read up to issue 9 of Jedi Knights, which I had. I just hadn't realized I'd completely missed out issue 8. Didn't have it, could not figure out what was going on, went and picked it up. My goodness, what an issue to miss. This issue of Jedi Knights, issue number 8, is told completely from a point of view. So all of the drawings are as if you're looking at this person's eyes. It has Keller and Beck in it, which is very cool anyway. We love a bit of Keller and Beck. And it's about this youngling who is force sensitive having that really emotional conversation with their parents about should they go with the Jedi, should they stay, what do I do? And then the two people who recruit her get taken out in an ambush by some pirates. Keller and Beck saves the day, and then we see this youngling evolve and grow into a Padawan and into a Jedi Knight themselves. It's a completely self contained story, absolutely beautifully written, emotional beyond belief. I couldn't believe it. I had to actually put my tablet down after reading it, and I just sat there and went, "Wow, what a story!" That's why I love Star Wars. Huge, huge recommendation for that one. I also read issue number 10, which was very good. Just a continuation of the Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan story, and actually almost a conclusion to that story as well, where instead of continuing the cycle of violence and revenge and vengeance, etc., Qui-Gon talks the bad guy down, and they go their separate ways. They both let go of their hate and anger. And again, Jedi Knights has been a really good set of life lessons in comic book form. It's been incredible, an incredible ride through them. I don't know if that's the end of the run. I don't know if it was just a 10 issue run or if there are going to be some more. I hope so because it's fantastic. I've also read Han Solo Search for the Falcon, issues number 4 and 5. They were fine. Han doesn't find the Falcon because that would contradict what happens in episode 7. They interact with Unkar Plot, who is the guy who gives out the rations to Rey in The Force Awakens, who has the Falcon. It was a Han and Chewie adventure. Didn't really need to happen, if I'm perfectly honest, but it was good. It was a good fun read. We get to see Lando at the end as well. I read Legacy of Vader, issue number 11. We see Kylo, Ben in the Vader mask, and it's good. It's decent. Varney is taken care of by the end of this issue, and I believe it concludes with one more issue. So I'm enjoying it as much as I can enjoy Kylo Ren because he's not my favorite character, and I think it's the Vader stuff which is keeping me more interested than the Kylo Ren stuff, if I'm perfectly honest. But we do get to see him break out of a tank, and we get to see a brief moment of Ben Swallow, but he is covered in scars, and I don't really understand why necessarily. But maybe there are other stories that need to be told there. And I started Dr. Aphra first run, volume 3, and then I had to stop because reading late at night puts me to sleep. But I'm enjoying it. We get to see some more BT1 Triple Zero. Always love to see my boys, the Murder Droids. Really, really looking forward to more of their stories alongside Dr. Aphra. Books wise, I did finish The Mask of Fear, which was absolutely fantastic. Really, really good. I want to say it was written by Adam Christopher, whose writing style can sometimes be a little bit jarring and a little bit off putting for some people. But I loved this book. I absolutely loved it. It kept me engaged. It gave me a Leonardo DiCaprio sort of sit up, whistle, and point moment for any rewatching of Revenge of the Sith from the tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise scene. If you know, you know. And it was really good. Really, really good. And I've been kind of scrabbling around as to what to read next or listen to next. And I started Alphabet Squadron. I am minutes into this book, and so I don't really have much else to say on it at the moment. Collectibles wise, I have picked up a bunch of hyperspace and foil additions to the Legends of the Force binders for Star Wars Unlimited. I have picked up some prestige cards as well. I think I'm about 14 cards away from the latest set being base set completed. I'm just having a good time with it really at the moment. I will have it done before the next set is out. The previews at the moment are dropping like crazy, and the next set looks insanely good. A Lawless Time due out beginning of March. It looks like it's going to be a great time all round. So I've picked up some stuff recently as well, which I don't normally pick up, and that is figures. I'm not a huge figures guy. I like my Funkos just because they're a bit fun and a bit silly, but I don't really do a lot of the figures. And I've picked up recently a Black Series Grogu, which is tiny. It is so small. I've also picked up a Luke and Grogu from the Book of Boba Fett. And I also picked up a twin pack of from the Young Jedi Adventures, which is Kai Brightstar and what looks to be hologram of Yoda. And that's been great. I've absolutely loved it. I've got them under my desk at the moment. I'm trying to figure out, do I unbox them? Do I keep them in the box? What do I do? And if I do unbox them, do I film it? If you're watching on YouTube, drop a comment below. Let me know. Do you want to see an unboxing video for some Black Series figures? Let me know. This is someone who does not know anything about Black Series figures. I will pull them about and see what articulation they have. It will be a proper review. But that's about everything for me this month in Star Wars. As I say, it's not been huge amounts. I've been quite busy with other life stuff, so apologies. I have not sent out a tweet to see what everyone out there in the universe has been doing, but I have reached out to the other Spark Jedi Council members. And Hayley Hobbs, we'll start there. Books wise, she's read Into the Void, Lost Tribe of the Sith, and The Rise and Fall of the Galactic Empire. 3 fantastic books, in my opinion. Absolutely brilliant. Lost Tribe of the Sith is probably the pick out for me. I absolutely loved that series. 8 short stories by John Jackson Miller. If you haven't read it, go read it. It's legends, but it's still amazing. She also listened to Red Harvest on audio, which is An interesting choice. I think of the four books you've mentioned there, Haley, I probably would have read Red Harvest because it's a horror, I believe. I don't know if I want to listen to a horror Star Wars book. How was it? Let me know. TV wise, she's rewatched the Book of Boba Fett, which I did a few episodes ago. Let me know what you thought on that. Did your opinions change? Did you think it was better or worse? Todd, Suds, Sedlak, still need to contact you about our Vortex episode, buddy, and I'm really sorry. It's been crazy here for me. Comics wise, he has read Jedi Knights issues 1 through 10. Let me know what you thought of issue 8, mate. Let me know. I want to know if this is just me going, wow, this is insane, or if it's not. Legacy of Vader issue 12 and Star Wars 2025 ongoing, which is post Return of the Jedi, issue number 9. Books wise, he's read all three of the original trilogy novelizations. And Galaxy of Heroes, he's working on Jedi Knight Luke as part of the requirements for Galactic Legends Luke. Slow grind, currently working on getting Chewbacca into the relic level so I can play next stage of the journey. Jedi Master Luke Skywalker is fantastic if you have Jedi Knight Luke, which is part of the requirements anyway, but you also want Hoda, so Hermit Yoda. And those three together are brilliant, are absolutely fantastic. Jedi Master Luke can beat Kylo Ren, Supreme Leader Kylo Ren, but is quite vulnerable to a lot of the other GLs. So, just as a heads up. Brian, BBK, has finished his Rebels rewatch. He's watched the original trilogy on 4K, the non special editions, which may well be in preparation for the potential re release next year. God, can I even say next year at this point in time? In 2027. Doesn't feel right to say next year just yet. Of A New Hope returning to cinemas with its original theatrical run. He's played some Outlaws and he's continued his Clone Wars rewatch. Also watched the Maul trailer around about 500 times. Good man. And just a little peek behind the curtain on what we do at the Spark Jedi Council. Todd has shared a meme with us where it says the moment you realise that Chopper is now in control of Lucasfilm. I'm here for it. I'm absolutely here for it. That's going to do it for this episode of the Star Wars Youniverse podcast. As I said earlier, follow me on all the socials. Drop me messages, drop me questions, drop me anything you want about Star Wars, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. So that's going to do it for this month. So always remember, may the Force be with you. Always.